Hiya, folks. Welcome to the View podcast. We took a break last week temporarily, but we're back again with Locky, Kate, and Max. Before we get into this, because I do this at the end and I should do it at the start, everyone's channels are linked down below in the description. Please go and support them and give them a subscribe and a follow. Keep saying it. Leeds content creators do some amazing stuff. You've got fantastic tactics breakdowns from Locky and from Max. You've got opinion videos from them as well. Kate does her daily news as well as other opinion videos and some really good shorts content as well. So you can check all them out. Stuff's in the description below. Go subscribe and follow them and give them a dig out as well. And if you like what we're doing here, you can subscribe here as well. You don't have to, but you can. There you go. Also, just to let everyone know, there is still a promotion running with Toffs on all of their range of retro jerseys. There are some fantastic Leeds ones in there that are really good fit. If you want 15% off it, it's the View 15 is the promotion code to put in the checkout basket, but I'll link it down below in the description as well. And then just again to say, it's not a paid promotion. I'm not getting anything from Toffs. It's just a promotion that we're doing, a promotion that we're doing together just to give Leeds fans something around the retro kits. So we've got that. Right, that's all that stuff out of the way. Kate, how you doing? How's your week?
I'm good. Very good. Thank you. Just doing the do, just watching and waiting for signings to get through the door, signing the dotted line and put us all out of our misery. Because it has been a bit of a roller coaster to say the least this last month or so. But I have faith. Things are coming together, and there was a lot today in a lot of different sort of spheres that went to give me confidence that we're sort of going to do something this season. So yeah, feeling pretty confident. Thanks, Joe.
Great, yeah, same as a lot of stuff to get into. Even Farrak's press conference was super impressive. Didn't say an awful lot about a lot of things that we wanted to hear, but he said an awful lot in other ways, which was great to hear. Max, how's your week been, mate? How are you?
I'm all right, thanks personally, but it's been a bit of a weird week because it's been very, very quiet until a bit of yesterday and then today where things have just gone a bit mad, which we're obviously going to get into. But yeah, it seems like it all gone a bit quiet. Leeds fans are starting to think, hold on a sec, we were told that we were going to be aggressive. We need some signings and the window shuts in a week. And then obviously a lot of things have started happening and coming out in the news today. So it's all starting to ramp up a little bit and hopefully, yeah, we get some signings in by the end of the window.
Yeah, it's a famine or a feast for Leeds really at the moment, isn't it, in terms of content? You've nothing to talk about for weeks and then all of a sudden, here you go, here's loads, and then nothing again.
Yeah, they could break it up nicely just for us, couldn't they?
Yeah. Say it again?
They could break it up just nicely for us, couldn't they? Instead of having it all go at once.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday cadence would be very nice, wouldn't it? That'd be a way to get behind.
Yeah,
so selfish of them.
Locky, how you doing, mate? How's your week been?
It's been great until about 10 minutes before we went to start streaming, and my Wi-Fi decided, I'm just gonna go red and not work. But yeah, apart from that, and then all Leeds stuff, yeah, I'm all right. It's all a bit wild, isn't it? This stuff is just coming out of nowhere, and then so everyone's losing their mind. Then 10 minutes later, we're getting a player. Then we're getting 2. Then maybe 3. Tomorrow we'll probably have none again. You know what I mean? I just don't know.
Players have the potential of 2 actually staying as well.
I can't get excited. I'm trying.
I know, it's awful, isn't it?
I mean, I'm excited for the thought of it, but I can't physically go crazy because could happen in 24 hours. Yeah.
Right. Before we get into this, because there's a lot to unpack in terms of incomings, I want to talk a little bit about the Ipswich game at the start, because 2 weeks ago on the podcast, it was supposed to be a preview and we didn't talk about the game at all. So I want to kind of get into that a little bit. And just to start off with 2 big bits of big news, and we can talk about this a bit more in a little bit more detail in a bit. But Daniel Farke's press conference today. Okay, I'll start with you. Said some impressive things. Were you happy what you heard today in terms of you don't mess with Leeds anymore?
Oh God. I mean, the press conference was just such a tonic. I think that was exactly what Leeds fans needed to hear today. He's got this incredible way of just sort of calming the ship, and that's exactly what he did. I loved the way that he talked about Willy Gnonto. He basically said what I've been saying, which is, yes, he needs to apologize. He has done that. He's, gone about things the correct way. Finally, he's maybe learned a lesson, but we have to remember that he's 19 years old, and he still needs to prove himself. He won't get a third chance. So there was a nice balance there for me from him for that. He also, spoke about Sinistera not necessarily refusing to play, but being maybe unable to, and back training now, which is again fantastic, because we all know that if we keep these two players, and Cree, maybe, I don't know what's happening with him, but if we can keep those two, that's like basically getting 2 new signings, isn't it? And potentially, arguably, one of the best players in the championship with Sinistera. So I just thought he was great. It was probably the best press conference he's done, and I haven't heard a managerial coach's press conference like that from Leeds United in years, and it left me feeling really positive and confident. Yeah,
I got Howard Wilkinson vibes off him today, in as far as I'm in charge, I make the decisions, I make the calls, everything goes through me. I mean, for him to say, Max, that Sinistera being removed from the squad was his call because the legal thing was a distraction to Daniel Farke. He felt it was a distraction to Sinistera, so he removed him, apologized to him, and removed him from the squad until it was dealt with. We don't know what that legal issue was. I'm assuming it's around the release clause and somebody trying to activate it, but we're assuming that. But the fact that he made such a big decision, very different to Willie Gnonto's situation. He said it out loud today. Gnonto refused to play twice. Cine, he made a very clear separation between the two, but it's again his call, and he said, I made that decision, it was my call. It's a bold thing to do, especially considering how light the Leeds squad is right now.
Yeah, it is. I didn't actually catch the press conference itself because I've been at work all day, but obviously from the things that you're saying, that is a big decision, isn't it? Given the fact that a lot of us have said that whilst we held our own against Birmingham City and against West Brom, I should remember that, I was at the game, it kind of needed players like Sinistera and Gnonto to be the ones that provide that little bit of extra, that bit of flair and that little bit of magic that wins that game, because you want players who've got a little bit of extra quality to get you over the line in the Championship. And obviously Farke has thought that it's better for us to not have Sinistera in the squad if he's got this hanging over him, and that he's not chose to take him with us. It does show bravery. It shows that he's authoritative, easy for me to say, that he will make tough decisions if he needs to, and that he's kind of going against this grain of the players having all the power nowadays. And even if Sinistera did want to play and Farke said, no, probably it's just best if you don't, he still took command of that situation and still had the power over the players. And I think that's good, because nowadays, more and more, we're seeing that the players can try and force their way out of clubs, which brings you on to Gnonto and him trying to force his way out. And Leeds are actually saying, do you know what? No, you've got a legal contract that you signed that has you here for another 4 years. You cannot just force your way out of that, because you wouldn't be able to just do that in any other job, would you? Just to say to your manager, oh, no, sorry, I don't really want to work here anymore. You got to sell me. But I just think it's just it shows that Leeds as a whole are taking a little bit of a stance here, saying that players can't just have anything they want, but they will be firm but fair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there were some interesting nuggets in this as well. I said Farke didn't say an awful lot about a lot of things we wanted to hear, but he said a lot in between what he says, and facial expressions and smirks about transfers and all that. He can say, can't talk about that, and then he's smiling at the same time. You're like, well, something's happening. But the interesting thing about Gnonto was, and this leans back to last season a little bit, and I wonder how this would have been picked up if Farke had been in charge at the back end of the Premier League season. He was asked about Gnonto from Catherine Hanna BBC, and asked, can he handle the fans booing him? Because I think he dodged the question the first time she asked him, and then she asked him the second time directly, how does he handle being booed? And what he said was, the players live a privileged life, and they need to realize that. They can't have all the success, adoration, and good things, and not have the criticism and a negative when it goes badly. Go back to last season when the players were coming out complaining about the fans getting on their back on social media and everything else, and we said the same thing. Criticism is based on performances. Talking about Gnonto, we said he has to just face this. He has to just buck it up and get on with it. He put himself in this position, and then he said he was badly advised, which, Locky, I thought is exactly what's happened here from a 19-year-old. I look at my Facebook history from when I was 20 and I want to slap the guy who wrote that stuff sometimes because
I don't look at mine, mate.
24.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Idiot. I'm 42 now, screaming to play football. You do stupid things when you're younger, and remember this when you're older, Locky. Remember this when you're older. That's
Lucky. Remember.
What was your thoughts on that bit specifically, and then the whole thing all up?
Yeah, I think that having Daniel Farke in this situation right now is the perfect manager to deal with these type of situations with Gnonto and Sinisterra, because one, he's dealt with it before at Norwich, similar situation with two of his best players as well. Two, he used to be a director of football, so he understands the ins and outs of contracts and all that stuff. That's why I think he's all right with these stuff. I think he's experiencing it. He's all right with it. If we'd have brought someone else in who didn't quite, understand what's going on, or he might have got a bit flustered by it, Daniel Farke's fine with it. He's seen stuff like this before. But in terms of Will Gnonto and that whole situation, again, all he needs to do now for me, people asking for an apology, but I think a written apology never, I know it might relax people, but people will criticize it because it'll be wrote by ChatGPT or whatever, or it'll be too short. Just seriously, just come out, score a goal, and just do that to the crowd. Just do that.
Yep.
And if they're booing you, accept it. That's the apology I want to see. I want to see an apology in a performance. Just play well, and if you score, or even after the game or whatever, come around the crowd and apologize that way. I think that's the best way of doing it. Yeah, doing something like a statement, maybe you will, but we know that's not ever genuine. It's about the action of the person. So, and like you said, he's 19 years old. He was, and I'm not defending him here. Let me clarify that. But what he did was an action he made. He decided to do that. But he was advised by someone with a lot of power and a lot of influence over him, and he chose a wrong decision. He made that wrong decision. That was his call twice to not play. Now I think he's understanding maybe that one, obviously, he must have watched Everton and thought, I'm not going to fight for that. Let's be honest, he probably saw that and thought, I'm all right. But I think having a chat with the manager and having a proper discussion, as a young man with someone with experience, kind of like a father figure, I guess. Yeah, you have to accept you messed up, but I will give you another chance, and that'll mean a lot to Willie Gnonto. That Farke's kind of put him on the naughty step and told him, "Look, you're not training, but we can have a discussion." And they've had a discussion. He's back in training. That's fine for me. Now go on the pitch, do what you do for Leeds United, and if you want to leave in January, give us a fee. I don't care. Play well for us. That's good for us, and that's good for him.
I think there's other routes that you can go down with an apology. It doesn't have to just be, like you say, something that could have been written by a bot and an AI, just something that you could have put down. The club obviously has its own media team, and if he really wanted to, he could get them and say, look, I want to do a little video apology. Can you set that up for me? And they've got all the channels to put it out on their Twitter, on all their social media, and say, Willie Gnonto has a message for the fans, ... whatever, something like that. And he would then speak on it and say whatever he has to say, apologize. Because very early in that West Brom game, I think in the first 10 minutes, there was refused to play F off home, the whole crowd. So he's not going to come in and not get booed. He is, like, it's guaranteed he is going to get booed, and he is going to get stuff shouted towards him. Now, I don't know whether the fact that this Ipswich game is an away game might be better or worse, because obviously you don't have a full stadium of people who are doing it. You've only got a couple of thousand rather than 30 odd, 35, 36, 37,000. I don't know whether that would be better to introduce him back to the away fans, but then also the away fans are often the most passionate and the most vocal. So he could be getting stick off them. I don't think there's any easy way for him to come back in. But I think if I was him, I would make an apology, some sort of apology at least, to the fans before I step foot on the pitch again for Leeds. Because if I didn't, I would know that I was going to get dogs abuse from all over the spot. People will just be booing. So I feel like he could simmer that down slightly by apologising, because probably 50-50 fans immediately will forgive him and other ones will take time to forgive him. But at least you cut out 50% of people who might be booing you if you do that.
I think what Daniel Varga said about he'll give another chance but not a third, I think that sums it up perfectly. At 9, like you said, 19 years old, you make some silly decisions. You do, you're at that age.
How old are you, Locky?
I'm much older than that. I look younger. I look younger than I am.
Do you?
Yeah. I'm
How old are you?
26. I'm 26.
Are you?
Are you joking? Oh my
You're older
God.
than me.
Damn, your youthful look.
I know. Good genes. I
Yeah.
actually think that Daniel Farker, one of the reasons he said today that he had come to him and he had apologized was to take some of the pressure off Willie for feeling that he has got to go out and make some kind of big statement apology. For me, I think that he does that, like Locky said, on the pitch. Is humble, trains hard, like Daniel Farker said, goes out on the pitch and performs and scores a goal or sets one up or does something special, and then takes it sort of humbly and celebrates humbly. Yeah, that's, for me, that's the best way to do it. I don't think putting pressure on somebody like that, I don't know. I don't know whether it's the right thing to do to actually make a statement or to come out and do a video. I'm not sure.
Okay, does it teach him a lesson though? Because Farka did say about teaching people a lesson today.
Yeah, he did. I think that he said he has to learn from it, and if he does learn from it, he will, he can move forward and be successful. But and he did say the ball's in his court. He's got another chance to prove himself. The board have given him another chance. Daniel has. He said the players have in the dressing room. They've been positive about him returning and his intent. So it depends. It will come down to his character and literally what the type of person he is. If he's a decent human being and he has is truly sort of sorry for the way he behaved, which he's perfectly capable of being at 19, then that will be sort of, he'll demonstrate that by playing and also taking the opportunity to showcase himself. If he wants to leave in January, the best way to do it is to go and perform for Leeds United, isn't it? So yeah, for me, I hope he's learnt the lesson, but who only time will tell, I think, for that.
There's a piece on leaving Leeds and leaving the right way. We've seen Calvin and Rafinha do it the right way. There's a way to leave a club and there's a way not to leave a club. I mean, even I wouldn't have held it against Tyler Adams leaving Leeds, but then you look at the statement the Leeds put out about him and it's one line and it doesn't wish him all the best in his future endeavours. So it's something happened there as well. And you see a solicitor coming out saying that he was happy to help the guy and they got legal with it. And that's just nasty and clearly soured a few people. There's a way to leave a club. None of the people that have left so far this season have left the right way. They've all left with, as Locky and Max have pointed out, ChatGPT generated statements. I would have said that Nanto putting something in the program notes, let him write the notes.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Let him write the program notes instead of Cooper, and then just talk about the game, and then just put a little apology in it, and then he said something to the fans, and then walk in. I think there's an awful lot to be said for walking out and just going, "Yeah, I get it, I totally get it." When they do it, acknowledge it. Yep, hands up, I get it. I think Lucky's dead right again with score a goal and then put your hand in the air. 100% think you're dead right. And I think a lot of people get over it then after a period of time. Like, I still expect him to leave at some point. I think January is probably the most likely time. But as Farka did say today, and they did discuss sticking him in under-21s for an entire season. And they said we wouldn't have lost anything financially if we did that. We could have sold him afterwards. Like, Farka was super honest. And then you go back to what Farka said before about criticizing players. He'll do it in private, then he'll do it in front of the squad, and then he'll do it publicly. Today he did it publicly with Nanto. I mean, he went in hard on him and a couple of things and made a point of saying badly advised, made mistakes. But I think it's interesting to see that Willie went to Farka and apologized. He sought him out to apologize and asked to be reintegrated. For me, the biggest statement Nanto can make is dumping his agent, because his agent is the one that's done this. At 19 years of age, from a kid that came into Leeds who looked like a lovely young man, very family orientated, big smile on his face, to this kind of stuff that's gone on over the last month. They don't match each other, and one looks like the actions of a more, I won't say sinister, it's probably the wrong word, but money orientated person to get a move. Because Everton's not an attractive move. They've lost their finance, their new backer today as well. They're in serious trouble now.
I'm sorry, I did have a little giggle to myself today, I've got to say. A little smile that spread across my face when I read that. It couldn't happen to a nicer club. But
And that's it. There's a book behind me, not the Bielsa one behind it. It talks about agents and the power they have, and you won't believe the power they have, especially a young, vulnerable player. And I know we want to come in, is this and that. And yeah, look, the decision he made was totally wrong. And for as a fan of the club, you feel betrayed by that. But it's hard, but you have to, and you can't put yourself in that position because we've never been in that position, right? But with someone of that power, with who literally can ruin your career if he wants to. If I say, "I'll go to this place," it's really good, and it could be terrible. Like, you have to try and balance, I guess, your personality with your ambitions, and that's where he's gone wrong for me. I think the first time the cup game, I can kind of accept. All right, you're a bit confused, but then when it gets to the Birmingham game and you actually saying you're going to play, and then you drop that statement, surely that at that point you had to realize, yeah, this isn't right. And maybe you did, and maybe now he's reflected on that and thought, or he spoke with his agent obviously, and then said, yeah, I think we just have to accept it, play here for a year at maximum a year, and see what happens. But I'm not gonna. Personally, this is just me. I wouldn't boo him, but that's just me. I get it if they do. Like, I'm 100% get it. I'm not saying don't, but I think for his sake and for the club's sake, we need this guy to play well for us.
Absolutely.
And again, like, that's down to him now. He can't, because he'll never get that feeling from the fans again that we really had last year, and that's on him. That's his choice. But what I think, once the boos have done, I think, first away game, first home game. Hopefully after that, we've got players in. We're a bit happier as a fan base. We can get over it, and he can get over it, and we can move on. And if he leaves in January, fine.
Yeah.
I do think it does come down to being badly advised as well, because you can, you wouldn't condone it, but you could maybe understand it a little bit more if he was 27, 28, and you thought that he had one big move left in his career and that he had to get out now because it was his only chance or whatever to get a move or whatever. But the fact that he's 19 years old, he does not have to rush anything. He does not have to rush anything. If we hadn't have bought him from Switzerland, he'd still be playing for FC Zurich. So it's not like, I don't know, he's 19 years old. He's got so much time. And you might find that he does get to, when we do get to January, if we have brought in the players that we're going to talk about in a minute in terms of signings, we might be well up there challenging for the title by then. And he might think, do you know what? I might stay till the end of the season because we can go back to the Premier League or whatever it may be. But yeah, I mean, some people would say that I'm not a proper fan because I don't care, but I actually don't really care about stuff like this in terms of, like, I think it's stupid because I want him to play for the club, but like, it doesn't upset me or anger me or anything like that. I'm just like a bit indifferent. I'm like, it's stupid, don't do it. But like, if he does come back and he starts scoring goals again, what, he missed 2 games? Like, do you know what I mean? I feel like people would say that that's bad for me to say that, but like,
no, I
don't know. I just don't. He's just a 19-year-old kid who he's missed 2 games in the Championship. In reality, obviously, he's tried to force his way out, but like, if we if we still have him, and
like a child, though, hasn't he? Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just going to say, the only way I think the most annoyed personally would be as a player and as a manager. You're part of the squad, you're part of this team that wants to achieve things, and then suddenly you're saying, I'm not playing anymore. And as a teammate of that,
it's like self-foresight, isn't it?
Yeah, you'll just feel really betrayed. But if they're over it and they've got on with it, because they're professional footballers, they have to. That's the game.
Yeah, I mean, there's already been a picture of him back in training, hasn't there? And I think Jorginho Rutter stood behind him, smiling and watching him train or whatever. So, but then I think Jorginho Rutter just smiles at everything anyway.
Bless him, doesn't know what's going on, does he?
Stop smiling, start scoring goals. Then smile.
Parker said they were really, really tight as a squad, didn't they? In the dressing room, they were really tight. They were really close, and hopefully the new guys that come in, he didn't mention who they were going to be, but hopefully they that sort of rub off on them as well. So I think you can't afford to hold a grudge in this situation, can you? You've got to get on with it. There's a big task at hand, and I think Daniel Farke's so pragmatic. He knows, like, we've dealt with it. let's move on now. And I think he's the right man to sort of manage this situation.
It's Max, you talked about time there as well. Being, he's only 19, you don't have time. And I think it's important to realize that when you're 19, you're not thinking about your entire career. You're thinking about next week, your next month. I mean, I remember being 19 and getting into our seniors first team when I was playing. And then 3 or 4 weeks in, my cousin was one of the senior players and he was in his early 30s. And there was another guy, he was the top scorer in the club and absolute legend in the club. He was in his 30s. I think that I played a couple of games and scored a couple of goals and had an actual stand-up argument with the manager going, I should be in the team. Those 2 lads are dinosaurs and I'm scoring goals. And his exact words to me were, if you're not starting week in and week out by 24, then come and have a conversation with me. Until then, learn. And that was it. Done and dusted, and took note and listened and got on with it. But it's hard to get a kid to see the longer term because you're playing week to week and you're enjoying it. You're young and you're, all of a sudden you're making money that you weren't making before, and it's.
That's where I think the agent comes in, because obviously his agent is a lot older than 19, and Nanto's trusting his agent to know what's best for his career. So if his agent is telling him, look, it's desperate that we get you a move, so you can play for Italy in the Euros or whatever. He's 19 years old. He's probably got 4 international, 5 international, 6 international tournaments in him. Really, if it was, well, obviously there's one every 2 years, isn't there? So probably even more than that. Euros and World Cups and stuff. Italy qualify for most of them. He could play in like 6 or 7 international competitions by the time he retires. He doesn't need to worry about the next Euros. Like, it's not the end of the world. And so I think it just comes down to his agent. His agent's obviously saying, look, you desperately need a move now. But he doesn't. When you look at other 19-year-old lads coming through in the championship, they then eventually get their move, don't they? A lot of them have a breakout season. And I said this the other week, he hasn't actually had a breakout season or particularly done anything of note. He scored how many goals did he score for us?
2.
4?
Is it?
Is it less? 2?
I think it was 2.
2 goals.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe got an assist or a shot creating action for Somerville's goal. It's like, hold on a sec, you actually haven't really done anything yet. It's not like you've had a blinding season and then we can sell you. He's not done anything. He's just shown flashes of being a really talented player. So I think the championship is ironically probably the best place for him at the moment to get game time every week, because he's got a squad of players around him who are a bit more experienced and more worldly than him in terms of playing in these divisions. I think he just needs to play, and then he might get his move. But but if I can see that, his agent must be bad because it's always
he's done with Zaniolo as well. So this seems to be in his playbook of getting his players. And let's be honest about it. Yeah, he goes to Everton. Yeah, he'll probably get a few more quid than he's earning now. But you're not going to be a poor footballer. You're going to have plenty of money. You're going, as you said, Max, you've got plenty of time. For his agent to pull the same trick, and to be very clear, his agent's in breach of FIFA rules. And there should be something to start. They should start doing stuff about the agents. I mean, Fabrizio Romano and Plantenberg basically telling people that personal terms have been agreed a month in advance and go, well, the club haven't accepted an offer and the club have said he's not for sale. So therefore, you're outing the agents as being breach of the rules and the player and being breach of contract. So it puts players in a really difficult position if they're going, well, hang on a second, I haven't agreed to anything. I play football. It puts them in a really difficult position. And I like the way the FARC has handled it. I like the way he's dealt with it. I described the Charlie Taylor situation on Joe's show before as, to me, not refusing to put on a Leeds shirt, given how many people would kill to wear it. Even if the place was on fire, I'd still turn up and put that shirt on and walk out on that pitch. I wouldn't care. Just the chance to wear it once would mean everything to me. And that's been the same. And I get called a plastic fan because I don't go to every game and I watch from Ireland, so therefore I'm not a real fan. But I still feel that way about it. And I described it once as, refusing to play for Leeds and putting that shirt on is the equivalent in my mind of walking across the Irish flag, stepping on it, stand on my flag, they disrespect my country to that way. And refusing to wear a Leeds shirt is exactly the same. So I held a grudge against Charlie Taylor. Joe asked me last week, has my position on Charlie Taylor changed? I'm like, yeah, because we need a left back and I don't care anymore. So timing can be really important in this as well. And to Max, to your point, I think the fact that Leeds need him right now and they need him to play well, I think we'll get him off the hook with a lot of people. I've seen some polls where like 50-60% of people are like, no, I'll cheer him. I'll give him a second chance.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Hard cars will be tricky, but I think Eldon Road will get behind him. I really think to be a couple of lose initially. I think if he acknowledges, I think they'll get behind him again. So fingers crossed.
I think
Just
if
go
the
on.
manager and his teammates can forgive him and give him a second chance, I think in the end we have to.
I
There's
think
no
that-
third chances, is there? That's it. There's no third
the
chances.
best-
This is
So I was just going to say the best
Sorry,
way
mate.
is to gaslight him. The best way to do this is to gaslight
That
him.
always works.
Do you know how teachers used to say, "Oh, I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed." I think if
He's
the
the
fans all get behind him and cheer him, he feels guilty then, and he learns his lesson most from it. I think if everybody cheers him, he's going, "Oh, probably shouldn't have done that, should I? They're still forgiving me. Like, oh God, what have I done?" I think it's the best way. So everybody get behind him so he feels guilty and scores.
yeah, you're right.
Well, I'll finish my bit by saying, whatever way I felt about Charlie Taylor and Willie Nunter doing this, if you put that shirt back on you, I'll support you because you're wearing a Leeds shirt. So if you put it back on, you behave correctly, you do things. The big word for me from Farke's press conference was professional. It wasn't professional what he did, but the players have been professional in how they've taken him back in, which I think is huge. And then Farke, I think, is just the epitome of professional. I think he's handled the entire thing incredibly
Absolutely.
well. And I think if the transfers that are rumored to be coming in before the window closes do come in, and given that the style of football is getting better week after week, Farke is setting himself up here for legendary status. Like, he's saying all the right things. You do not mess with Leeds United. You know, I thought it was a fantastic thing to say. We're going to send a message to everyone. I think he said in one point in the press conference, and I might have misheard this, but I think he said we valued Willie at 20 million, but when this happened, we increased his value to 35.
Yeah, did, yeah.
We added 15 million on because we're not going to be blackmailed by anybody. I thought that was
Yes,
just,
I love that. I love that.
love it. Love it.
Isn't it?
It's brilliant.
But look, hopefully it's behind us now. I still think there'll be a twist in this before the end of the window. I still wouldn't be surprised if somebody comes in and tries to tempt Leeds with a signing. Same
as long as they don't refuse to play,
that's it.
if they want to get their big move, good luck to them.
40
honestly.
mil, plays his backside off between now and then.
Yep, fine.
Goes with my blessing.
He'll get his move and we'll get our money, and it works for everybody that way.
It's a
Yeah,
stark
exactly.
contrast, isn't it, between him and Berardi, who played and did his ACL even though he didn't have a contract. It's like there's
Side before self.
yeah, just attitudes, and if we can have a few more players like Berardi who would play no matter what, then I'd be happy.
I
Well,
think
Tom
people like Berardi
Coleman
are
on
generation.
Tom Coleman from Wales Online has
I'm
literally.
just reading it.
Are you? Piroe
Yeah,
to
we're
Leeds
gonna
is
hold
done.
off.
Should be an announcement later tonight. Sorry, Jeff.
Oh, you're fine as going. We got the income. I'm staring at it right now. And that's
Jerry
why
there before.
anyone watching this will see me make a face about 5 minutes ago. And I went, I was like, okay. There's also a van pulled outside Ellen Road as well. Someone took a
I read
photograph of it
something as well, and I went really quickly.
This had to be rapid. Anyway, let's tell you what. We'll wrap up this and we'll get into this because that's the big one.
Yes.
Round the houses real quick. Kate, prediction for Ipswich, because that's unfortunately, believe it or not, what we've actually been talking about.
God, how can we do this when we know that we don't know who's going to be playing? But
You're
I'm
not
going
going
to
to have
say
any of the new signings in that team before that game.
none of the
and
new
you'll
signings, but we
Sinister
will
not in the
have.
squad.
And Cine what?
Cine
Cine
Nonto will be in the squad.
Yeah, I'm going to say 2-2.
Okay. Max?
A draw.
I was thinking of another draw because I feel like Ipswich have obviously had a really good start to the season, a really good end to last season. I feel like going away there will be difficult, but I feel like the way we've performed against all the other teams, I don't think we're going to lose, but we don't have enough to win. So I think it's going to be another draw. So yeah, I agree with Kate on that one.
Well done.
2-2.
I mean, yeah,
Lucky, how
I
you feeling
agree.
better?
Oh, tough game this. Good momentum. Not a loss in a long time, Ipswich. I can't remember the games. It's a lot.
16 games.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
going
12,
into
isn't it?
last year.
Yeah,
16,
12 or
I
something
saw-
like that.
Yeah, it's long in it. It's
lot.
something we're not used to in years. But good players. Connor Chaplin's one. Dangerous player.
25
quick
goals
player.
last season. Was it
Yeah.
29?
They're one of them teams, though, that kind of not got any standouts, but they're all really solid players and work really well for the manager and play for each other. So, but they still have good players in there, obviously. You know what? I'm going to go pessimistic for me. 2-2.
Oh. Pessimistic is 2-2.
I usually have us winning every game, yeah.
Oh, really?
Standard Leeds
Yeah,
score, isn't it? Standard
I'd be
Leeds
glad to
predicted
just stop the
scores
rot
2-2.
2-2.
Yeah, everybody's
No,
predicted a
score.
Desmond.
1-1. Sorry, 1-1.
Okay.
I think we win 2-1.
I like that.
It's the
At least
most
you're
positive
positive,
I've been
Jeff.
so far.
Yeah.
At least you're positive.
I'm not
And
usually.
Who's
It's gotten
scoring?
more negative.
Nonto.
Oh,
I
imagine
have no idea because I think
98th minute. Oh,
Nonto and Cine.
Bench tags a winner.
Can you imagine Leeds fans not celebrating if Gnonto scored a 95th minute winner and everyone, oh,
Everything's
Gnonto, we're not doing it. Everybody will just go mental no matter what. I'll be screaming the house down on a live watch along.
I know.
It's just like
that's how you
everybody will
save
just
your
be-
career at Leeds. You score a 98-minute winner. That's it. Done.
We love
Everything's forgiven.
a late winner, don't we? Anyway,
So I'm
so-
getting like goosebumps already.
There was one interesting thing in the press conference. People asked about Ian Pavade and he's going to be a week away, but that wasn't the interesting part. Nobody asked about Chris Somerville at all. What's the situation with Somerville? We've no idea if Somerville's going to be in the squad. I couldn't believe nobody asked that question of what's the situation.
I thought that, Joe, as well.
Be nice if it
I
was,
forgot
wouldn't it? That'd be another little surprise as well. Somerville's in there.
Somebody put a lovely photograph up the other day of they're out in a restaurant. They got a photograph taken by Chris Somerville, and they said Willie was there but didn't want to take a photograph. And I go, I wonder did anybody speak to him about the situation? I wonder has Charlie Taylor had a chat with him? I wonder have Luke Galen got in his ear? And then the Basong interview that went around from Newcastle during the week where he was when he was at Newcastle, basically saying that he refused to play for Newcastle to force a move, and he said it was the wrong thing to do, and I regret it massively now that I'm older, and I'd advise any young player not to do it. It's the wrong thing to do. I wonder has he seen all this kind of stuff and gone,
Yeah.
yep. I'm in the wrong here.
Yeah, because I think as a player, you'd probably trust ex-players and current players more than you would an agent who's never played the game. He's looking at things like, maybe if he is seeing things like that, he's probably thinking, even if he didn't see it organically, someone will have linked him that. Probably Ailings messaged him like, have you seen this clip? You might want to watch this.
Yeah.
And then, gets in his head that, oh, well, hold on a sec. If players are saying that, then it's probably not the best thing to do.
But let's move on and let's talk about the stuff that we're going to want to talk about, because today's been mental, just in terms of
Wild
incoming rumors all week. Glenn Kamara is just like Glenn Kamara is the Kent of this transfer window. It's just been constantly he's coming. He's down for medical today. Down for medical today. Nope, another week. Nope, it's today. Down for his medical today. Doesn't happen.
Hasn't it?
Then out of absolute. Say again.
Past few seasons, he's been linked with us, right?
Ryan Kent's been linked with Leeds consistently, and then every now and then it pops up, even though he's gone somewhere else. It keeps popping up if he's been loaned. However, out of absolutely nowhere, again, and I have to keep making this point. The Daily Mail have nailed this every single time this went somewhere. Yeah. The Daily Mail seemed to have had the inside track before anybody else. We've had Piroe to Leeds, which now, according to Tom Coleman, you want to take this one, Katie?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, according to Tom Coleman, deal is done. It's going to be announced in the next couple of hours. And Joel Piroe is a Leeds United player, potentially. I can't let myself actually say that, say that he is. I dare. But somebody sent me a picture of him in the kit earlier this week. And oh my God, I said to you, Joe, didn't I? I nearly passed out when I saw that, because I didn't see it coming at all. And then to get to this stage. Oh my God, he does look good in a Leeds kit, doesn't he? Oh my God.
We have to say he's a Leeds player, allegedly. Because we've been stung before.
Yes, absolutely. He could get to his medical, and we might get gazumped by Southampton or somebody. But anyway, according to Tom Coleman, that is what's going to happen. And I think, it's the stuff of dreams for me, really. Yeah, I know the one video that sticks in my mind about yourself that I actually remember. I remember a lot of them, but is that he doesn't fit the Farke system. So I'd like to know a little bit more about this. Couldn't it be tweaked?
Yes. So the reason I said that he didn't fit the Farke system, I mean, Locky, you've kind of had a chat about this as well a couple of weeks ago as well. The reason I said he doesn't suit the Leeds United system is Piroe as best is with the space when there's space in behind. Now he can't score from the edge of the box. He scored a ton of goals from outside the box and from angles as well. He's well capable of doing that. But in terms of how teams have lined up against Leeds outside of West Brom, they've all just parked the bus on the edge of the 18-yard line, and there isn't any space in behind to get in. And the issue with Leeds for me hasn't necessarily been a lack of goals or people who can score goals. The issue for me has been a lack of somebody who can find that pass between those tight areas to get someone in to score, which is why for me, the number 10 is the most important signing that we make. We need to find someone who can open those doors. Piroe's a finisher. He's a good goal scorer. He scored a stack of goals. I'm sure he can play in any system. But Locky, I'll ask you, and then I'll ask Max. Both you guys have both done content on this as well. Does he suit the existing system, or does the system need to be tweaked?
I think I liken it to Haaland and City, right? Haaland was not a perfect Pep player. Let's be real. Pep used to play without striker, false nine, dropping in. Haaland don't do that. Haaland sits on the last man. But what Haaland has is Kevin De Bruyne, Phil Foden, who can give him anything he needs. Now, this is similar to Piroe, different player to Haaland, obviously, but I think Daniel Farke is the type of manager who will find a way to adapt. I think he does have to adapt because Piroe's not like Thuram at Borussia Mönchengladbach as well. Totally different. Obviously, we know about Piqué, totally different type of player. But what Piroe is good at is finishing. He will score you goals, like you said, in any system, right? Especially now at this age, he's developing. So what we have to do, and this is on the manager. The manager's accepted this. He wants this clearly. He's pushing this. So he clearly knows a formula in which it'll work. It took Pep a few weeks with Haaland, but once it happened, it was unstoppable. All he did was put John Stones in midfield and then change the entire game of football again, which that guy does every year. But what we have to do is adapt. It'll be little things, use Piroe's strengths to the team because he's good at finishing. He can control a game from the top, like kind of, anywhere around that box. His striking's phenomenal. It's one of the best I've seen in the Championship. Every shot he has he's either on target or goes in. It's ridiculous. So you have to play for his strengths, especially when you're paying 15 or million for him. So it's one of them where, yes, it's probably not ideal, but you make him ideal. You make him the player. He's not ideal, but he could get 25 goals for Leeds next year if we play to his strengths for me. I genuinely think he could. That Swansea side, possession side football, didn't create loads and loads of chances. Got 19 goals and 21 the year before, I think. Oh in a system like this, with Amiri as well behind him, who will feed him so much. Sinisterra in there can find a pass. He will get 25 goals for me if he's fit all season.
Oh my God, don't, Locky. Can't
so Mr. Romano has just tweeted, he's retweeted his earlier post today, which was Joel Piroe on his way for medical test at Leeds. He's now tweeted retweeted that post with a white circle, a tick, a Dutch flag, and LUFC. So that's done. Here we go.
Can I just say as well?
I've
just read a tweet that says, "Looks like Piroe is signed. Still wish we'd gone with someone with more championship experience, like Chris Woodall."
Championship for 3 years, bagging goals all over the place. In the championship.
Have to make do with what you get, I suppose.
Yeah, we'll take it. I guess.
We're never happy. We're never happy. It takes us seconds to get over something good. It's like, okay, we've signed a striker. We needed a striker. Finally, we got a striker. Yeah, but his boots are crap, aren't they? And straight away, we find a negative. Immediately, someone will find a negative. Leeds fans, I think, we're the opposite to everybody else. Every cloud has a silver lining, but for us, it's ever silver. Every silver lining has a cloud, and we will find that cloud if we have to.
We will find it.
We will find it. Yeah, Max, your thoughts on Joel Piroe coming in outside of the obvious? Finally, we bought a number 9.
Yeah. Well, I actually think he does fit the system, and I don't think it needs that much tweaking, to be honest, or any at all to actually get him into it. I think, yes, you are correct about him not having as much space to run in behind, but I think he's more of a complete striker than that. Sometimes we've seen players in the past like Michael Owen. He was so good because he was so quick. But he didn't have an all-round game that meant that he could last the rest of his career, because once his legs went, he ended up at places like Stoke, didn't he, where he couldn't have as much impact on the game of football. But I think Piroe offers, obviously, it goes back to what Locky was saying. Locky wasn't comparing him to Haaland. I'm not comparing him to Michael Owen winning the Ballon d'Or at 18. I'm just saying in terms of the first person who came to my head whose legs went. But Piroe is a good header of the ball. And we've seen that we need somebody tall enough to actually get their head on it, with Dan James's crosses, which have actually been really good. And obviously we saw Ayling put one away, but that was a striker's finish. And having somebody like Joel Piroe in there who will just be in the right place at the right time, I think that's good to have an actual target to hit. And then I think the other thing is the way that he peels off is one of the main things that I noticed when I was analysing his goals or his contributions at Swansea. A lot of what he does is he's making a run centrally, and then he peels off slightly and occupies one of the centre-backs, which opens up a space between the two centre-backs for a number 10 to run through. So I think the combination of him and whoever's playing in behind him is going to be really important, because that's where a lot of Norwich's goals came from, where Pukki would not go wide, but like pull wide enough to get a centre-back to go, oh God, I better go with him here because he's a good finisher. And that's when you saw people like Emi Buendia and Todd Cantwell floating through the middle, going through that gap and getting their goals. I think somebody like Nedum Amiri, if he can come in through that gap, he's a good finisher as well. So that link up could be brilliant. And obviously we've seen that we've got players who can play in that position as well, who can finish. So the fact that it wouldn't just be his goals, it'd be his contribution in opening up space for other players to run in behind. I think that would really, really work well for this system. And like you say, he's never going to be exactly the same player as what Pukki was or what Thuram was at Borussia Mönchengladbach. But I think he does offer some similar traits, let's say, to some of those players where it's not just what he does himself with the ball, it's what he allows his teammates to do. And I think that's what I'm excited about, him opening up the space for those number 10s and those attacking midfielders to get in and score.
Yeah, there's a lot there. It's a really good point, Max. And I'm sorry for hijacking your point.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
It is now.
I've got to face the
confirmed.
opposite way to my computer.
Oh, dude,
It got announced
Oh my
as you started
God.
speaking, Max.
Yeah.
We all went like this.
Like this while you're talking.
Yeah.
I can't believe we.
So I wasn't looking. I was thinking something must be happening out the corner of my eye, but I'm just going to keep talking. And finish
my
my point.
God.
Super
Very,
professional.
very
Max,
professional.
by the
Yeah,
rest of us
love
were-
it.
Yeah,
I'd have
we
gone
were-
mental if I was speaking. I'd have gone, oh,
But you've done a really good video on that on Joel Piroe though, haven't you, Max? Because I've watched it. So
Yes, I did that a while
yeah.
back, and that's one of the main points that I picked out when I talked about that. But yes, he is official now.
Oh my
you
God,
go.
I know.
Leeds United delighted to announce the signing of Swansea striker Joe Piroe, subject to a work permanent international clearance. 24-year-old Dutchman joins the Whites in a permanent transfer arriving from Ellen Road on an undisclosed fee. It's rumoured to be around 10 million, which I think is a steal. He's put pen to paper on a 4-year deal in West Yorkshire running until the summer of 2027. Piroe joined PSV Eindhoven's academy, blah, 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 blah. There you go.
Oh my
He would wear
Can I
number
say
7
something as
shirt
well?
during his time
Seven.
at Leeds United.
7.
Yeah.
Nice.
He used to wear
I'm gonna-
17, didn't he?
I'm going to
That's-
say something, all right?
Go
There's
for
no,
it.
there was no video. There was no
Unbelievable.
announcement video or anything, which means
No,
they're
just
just getting
get a
another
new
one. They're getting another one.
So now, not that we're, you know,
I'm all giddy now.
I'm very giddy. I can't believe we got this one. I genuinely get.
That came out of nowhere, did it? Wow.
The bloody striker after 5 years. I might weep.
I'm, as I said, I'm trying to read too much into things, but we all speculate wildly most of the time.
Of course
Anyway,
we do.
so why not lean into it? And Digital Wilson put out a tweet earlier on of 3 separate burgers. Sorry, 2 burgers and a chip thing. Now it is International Burger Day. He's
Yes, it is,
absolutely correct. It is international. How that's a day. Vegans will be losing their minds. But it is a day. He had 3. One of them, there was a little chili thing on it. One was colored in, and the other 2 weren't. And they're going, is that one of 3 being done? So that one's done. I think Leeds have just, because of what happened with Max Aarons, don't mess around. Give the fans something because we've had nothing or desperately worry about things. So
And
that's done.
What thing to give the fans?
I wonder what time he signed that, because that could have a bearing. He could, if he signed early enough today, being Thursday, he could be in the squad for Saturday. It's 48 hours before kickoff. You have to be registered by, as far as I'm aware. Could be wrong, but I think it's 2 days beforehand. So there's a possibility he could be in a squad or not. But that's one. The second one that we should talk about, and I'll start with you, Locky, on this one, because this came out last night and now Joe got really excited, and then this morning happened and he got really upset, and then this afternoon happened and he was really
Can I just say, Jen?
Good,
before-
Joe. It's a roller coaster.
I was doing my breakfast. I was chatting the news, chatting about Nadim, and Joe comes into my breakfast show, hijacks it, and basically said, "No, it's off. It's off." Right. So basically, I had to do a U-turn, and then literally an hour later, oh no, it's on again. Do you know what I mean?
I usually do my news videos early in the morning before I start work, and today I was like, no, I'm waiting till lunchtime. I'll do it at lunch because the press conference is happening. I'll wait till that's done for the second half. So I'll do half of it before and half of it after the press conference. And I waited and I waited and I waited, and I saw the article on Kicker, and that was the one that was like, these guys have a decent track record. They're fairly accurate. And this one. So apparently what has happened with Nedum Amiri is Leeds went after him. It was done and dusted. Apparently that's where Daniel Farke flew off to the other day. Was off to meet the player. Wants him as part of his squad. Amiri was keen on it. It's going to be a very cheap transfer as well by the looks of it. Could be anything between 4.5 million and 5.5 million pounds, which is just, even in today's market, is peanuts. We talked last year about taking Rasmus Christensen for 10 million and go, it's a free hit. It's only 10 million. You know, it's the modern 1 million. These are even cheaper than that. Again, like if these don't work out, so what? Like it's not a big deal. But then they announced, Plentenberg announced this morning that the deal was off, that the player had decided to go to Marseille instead. Then it came out this afternoon from Kicker that they've decided to go after Joachim Carrera at Inter Milan instead, freeing him up, and the player had agreed to come to Leeds. And then a couple of people have said this afternoon he's already in Leeds. So there is a possibility that Nadim Amiri, who's a decent number 10, especially for Championship, will be very, very good. There is a thing about work rate and will he work hard enough in a system, but I don't think Leeds will have to defend much this season if they get these players in. So Locky on Amiri, I don't know if everyone knows an awful lot about the player. What do you think this kind of signing is? Do you think we'll get it done is the second thing? Because the three burgers are making me think maybe this is number 2. Do you think we'll get it done and does it make a difference?
So just on knowing him, genuinely, I probably know more about him than Piroe, I'll be honest. Because I'm weird. I like to watch Bundesliga. Yeah.
Wow.
Now, this guy, how do I explain? Like when he played under Nagelsmann at Hoffenheim, Julian Nagelsmann, and he was very good. They had a really bad injury when he was younger, which really hampered his development. Got sold to Leverkusen, been fairly consistent there, in and out of the side, and he's had 5 caps for Germany. In the midfield, which is, I know tough. Some of our terrible players in the past have had them, but in the midfield is extremely difficult. He, for me, is a type of player who, and I promise I'm not exaggerating. He is the 10 we are dying for, and he is the type of player who can transform a side in terms of creatively. Who reminds me of, and I'm not saying he's as good as him by any means, he's just in terms of style. Bernardo Silva, the way he would just float, the way to float around the pitch, not necessarily get all the assists and all the goals, but he'd be a big part of creating it.
It's interesting you say that, because on FB Ref, when you look at players similar to Bernardo Silva, is one of those players.
Yeah, and in the way he just floats around the pitch. Kate's got to do a video.
It's all gone too much.
So what I would say is, the work rate thing, it doesn't work back a lot. Like Pablo Hernandez wouldn't really. Pablo Hernandez would do it when he's angry and he loses the ball, he'd run back. But he didn't run around the pitch, didn't Pablo Hernandez? But this guy is similar in that sense. But if you have a really good pivot, which we do, and we bring one more potentially in there, this guy's freedom on the pitch will create you tons of chances. If we get Paintsill in the wing, him and Paintsill will absolutely destroy that side. These are the type of signings we need. These are the statements. For me, Amiri is too good for the Championship. I genuinely believe that. But like Marseille were one that wanted him. That's the level we're at here. So for me, if we get that over the line, it's a real statement, as much as Piroe, for sure.
Did he went on loan as well, didn't he? Was it Genoa?
Or Genoa? It was Italy last year. Yeah, I can't remember what the team called.
But they didn't have they didn't take the option to buy, did they?
No.
In the end,
I spoke to Andrea about this. Obviously, watches Italian football. He said the team he was in were terrible. Did not suit him. He played a lot deeper in there as well. So I wouldn't take too much into that. Even though you got to take it into account.
13 games at Hoffenheim last season, but that's all.
Yeah.
But he played 106 games for Hoffenheim, scored 11 goals during that time. He played 98 times for Leverkusen in 2 years, 8 goals, and has been capped at Germany from every level, from under 18s all the way up, and the Olympics as well, where he scored 2 goals in the Olympics. So the track record here of saying the player is not a bad player. You don't play for German national side. And again, to your point, you don't play in the midfield in the German national team. Especially in the current crop of German players, unless you're quality.
I think it's fair to say, I think it's fair to say he's not reached where he was meant to. He was under Nagelsmann at Hoffenheim. He was very, very highly rated. Didn't reach that next level, but the level he's at now, and that by Leverkusen side, by the way, is stacked. Is some really good. The fact that he even played games to them is impressive. They finished, I think, third or fourth in the Bundesliga, were it?
They've got Florian Wirtz and stuff as well, haven't they?
Yeah,
who's coming through in that position. He's going to be world class, if not already. But he's in that same position as well. So of the fact that Amiri had to compete against that. And I think, was it last season or the season before, he played I think he played about 20 odd times, but he only started 9 games, but he got 4 goals and 1 assist, or 5 goals and 1 assist. So it's not bad considering 9 starts to get 6 goal contributions in 9 starts. That's pretty good.
Since about 17, 18, 19, he's been in good sides in the Bundesliga and playing fairly consistently, apart from the last few years. But like I said, what you said about Fabian Wirtz, there's some of the good players in Bayer Leverkusen who are Champions League football, I believe. The fact that he played 19, I think it was 19 times from last year or something like that, is a statement in itself.
Yeah.
What's up with?
Someone's found the cloud in the silver lining.
Oh no, don't.
The lead statement for Piroe
okay.
says, LUFC are delighted to announce the signing of Swansea striker Joe Piroe, subject to work permit international clearance. The person that has done this has retweeted it and said, subject to bodes well.
For God's sake.
Come on, take the W. Take the W. We've got one. He's in the door. He's in a tracksuit. It's good enough for me. Sorry, Locky.
But yeah, Amiri would be insane at this level in the Championship. I think he's level of it, in my opinion.
Can I just ask a question, guys, to you, just to sort of throw a little bit of spanner in the works? Do you think if we sign Amiri and Paintsil, to name but just 2 more, do you think the likes of Southampton and Leicester need to be worried?
Yep.
If we have Cini and Nonto?
The depth is still a worry for me.
Front 4 or as a potential front 4. Like, ignore Paintsil for 1 second, because I'm super excited about that one more than any of them, because I think he's an absolutely exciting player to watch.
Is it
but if you look at
Paintsil or is it Pantsil? Because wasn't that ex-Fulham player called Pantsil? But is it like French pronunciation, like Pan, rather than
Pancil?
Because it's A.
Max? Pan.
Pancil.
Pan.
Joseph Pancil.
I don't speak French, and you're probably right. Pancil or Paintsil? I want to hear Pointer Ego say Pancil.
Yeah,
in a French accent. That's what I want to hear. Paintsil is one I'm really excited about. But if you think about this as a front lineup, you've got Sinisterra, Nonto, Somerville, James. Then you've got Piroe, Amiri. That's a scary attack.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
It's stacked.
You got a left back and another centre mid.
You could argue that's a decent Premier League.
That's what I said today. We're building a Premier League side on Twitter. Yeah, we are.
Joe, you did say like 3 weeks ago, Joe, just wait till the end of the window, then judge it.
It still didn't stop me having an emotional breakdown during the week.
I know. I've been
You should have just claimed that one. You should have just claimed it.
I know.
Like, I never a doubt.
I got to the point last week at the press conference where as soon as it finished, I said, look, I'll give my thoughts on what's going on. I never do, but I'll give my thoughts after the press conference. So then the second half of the video was the press conference, and then I had a little rant. I still tried to go, it probably will be fine, but right now it's not. And I did get worried because I was looking at the averages that they've done with transfers, and it's one signing every 2 weeks and going, 10 days left. There's 9 days left. There's 8 days left. You're not getting 6 players in 9 days. It's just not going to happen. Maybe it will. But I do think judging the 49ers as an entity or as an ownership model, because some people yesterday tweeting 49ers out is a bit extreme, a bit silly, because you can make yourself look really stupid by the end of the window if they go ahead and they actually prove it wrong.
1 day's time when we sign the best striker in the Championship.
Just find the best striker in the Championship. Yeah, that is very true, and that's an aggressive move. You know, it definitely is. But if you say before the end of the window, this is a disaster, everything's a mess, blah blah blah, 49ers out, and then they go and do everything in the last couple of days, you kind of look a bit silly. But I do understand that as a fan base, we have been primed to expect failure or expect things. You know, don't go to bed just yet. You know, all that kind of stuff. Leans at Ross McCormack on Sky Sports News saying, "Somebody please buy me. I can't stay here anymore." You know, all this kind of stuff. I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but you know,
we've all got PTSD.
We've all got PTSD, and every now and then, when it gets a bit quiet, it does creep in. And even the most positive Leeds fans, and I'm genuinely normally pretty positive, I got worried. So I can understand people going, do something. Just, I think yesterday I put a tweet out with a gif of Diana Ross singing I Have Nothing. Whitney Houston, sorry, the song from like Leeds transfer business this week, nothing. Now I look a bit silly at the end of the week because they've gone and signed Piroe and they might sign Amiri. Kate, does that excite you as a fan? Okay.
Oh, me? Sorry, say again.
Yeah, sorry. Does Amiri sign in for us? Would that
God,
excite you as a fan?
absolutely. I mean, I haven't got the facts and figures to hand. I did do something on him this morning, but from the bit I did research on him, I mean, to Locky's point, I mean, everything that you said and more, far more about it than I did. But from what I could see, as a sort of lay fan, I'm really excited about him. I think he's an exciting prospect. I was gutted when he apparently wasn't going to come. Joe burst my bubble. But one thing I did sort of learn about him is he does move freely around the pitch, sort of laterally across, upwards and down, up and down, sort of into the defensive bit and down to the the defensive third and down to the final third. So yeah, I mean, he is what we need. Although I'm sure Locky can explain that a little bit better. But you get my drift, right? You get my drift. He's a number 10 we need, absolutely. Yeah.
He's if we get him, like I said. But what I will say, and I'm going to be a bit. We need more. I'm not going to sit here and say them three will do. I think after them three, the starting 11 is insane. But behind that, even midfield, I'm still looking at midfield. There are a bit more numbers, even fullback. I think we need. Yeah, that'd be insane. Again, if we got that, we're winning a league at the end of the day. So, yeah, I think for me, I'm happy if we do get these three in. Like I said, we don't know about the other two. If we did, I'd still think three more for me after that for the squad.
Do you know what though? I think some of the players that we've already got are stepping up a little bit, and one in particular is Pascal Struijk.
Yeah.
When I know not everybody likes.
I criticised him the first game of the season, but you're dead right. I think you're 100% correct.
Not everybody likes the second tier pod, but they were tweeting out over the last couple of days like who's done the most of certain statistics over the first couple of games, and it was like passes into the final third, and then they were all like attackers and midfielders, and then in fourth place was Pascal Struijk with 29 passes into the final third. So I quote tweeted and said, Pascal is a centre back. Let's just remember that. And the fact that he's had the ball so much, he seems so much more confident and calm on the ball. I think this is his sort of renaissance of his career, I hope, this season. And like you say, I think there's some players who are really going to step up. And other players like Sam Byram, if he can stay fit, who are really going to surprise us that we didn't need to spend money on that, which means that we can go and spend money on other positions as well. So, like you say, probably another centre mid just to cover Archie Gray, I think is what we really need. But I think it may not happen for Lewis O'Brien, but I think Lewis O'Brien is like the perfect mold of midfielder to play in the Archie Gray role, because he's spent quite a bit of his time playing at fullback, and that role you're expected to drop in at fullback and cover the fullback who's gone high and wide. And I think somebody like Lewis O'Brien, who's used to playing both of those positions, would actually be a really, really good shout for that role. Even if he stays in Clicky's flat. I don't know if anybody saw that. He said finally rent out a flat to someone.
Yeah, I replied to Clicky. I was hoping I'd get a reply, but I didn't. But I did reply to Quickie going, why would you get rid of your flat? You have to come back to get to 200 appearances, don't you?
Oh, I did. I liked that, I think,
He did promise to come back, so I'm hoping when the MLS season's over, we could get him back in for even just for till Christmas. We'd love to have him back in the championship. Still do a job. He's killing it in the MLS.
The thing is, I think he'd do really well in this system as well. I've said this over the last couple of weeks. I think he would do really, really well. So it's just a shame that we let him go. We should have loaned him in January. Especially if they thought
we should have done.
If they thought that potentially they were going to sack Marsh anyway, surely I was going to say surely I should have had the foresight, but obviously not, given everything else that we've seen. But a competent owner would have said, do you know what? If the manager's not going to be here for that long, and the manager has said that he doesn't want this player as part of his squad, then just send him out on loan. But
I wonder was that the conversations that were happening, because they kept saying like, oh, we're not sure if we're keeping him or letting him go. When we talked about a player wants to play, I wonder was there something the club saying just hang on a month, stick with us a month, stick this out. He won't be here in a month. But at the same time, then Marsh was like, don't want him to go. Everything about that was wrong. Everything about how Click was treated, how he left the club. I did say maybe we need to replace him anyway. But it's the same with Luke Ayling and Cooper. I'm saying replace them. I'm not saying get rid of them. I'm saying keep them.
Yeah, but also you'd have still been right though in the Premier League. But in the Championship, I think they could, like, obviously it's a different level, isn't it? So someone like Clicky could probably do a really good job in the Championship, not so much in the Premier League, maybe.
Yeah.
But
that's
the benefit of hindsight.
I like the O'Brien one. I think that would be a really good side. I still think we need to keep an eye on Masengo.
Is he still a free agent?
He is
Still a free agent.
Yeah.
Has options, and I think he could be one that might just himself be making the decision to wait until the window closes, because all of a
see what
sudden
came
bigger
up.
clubs who didn't get their targets could go after him.
Yeah.
So he could actually get a bigger move by being patient here.
There's a
So let's
picture on there's a picture on Twitter
No?
with Piroe, and I just want to get your thoughts on it, Jet. He's literally holding the shirt up in the stand, and you can see that the sun's sort of like, it's sort of a dim light. I'm just kind of trying to get a handle on when he actually signed for it.
Time of day.
Yeah, because it kind of looks sort of as if it's sort of early evening to me.
I think it's weird that they didn't do a video. They usually do big signing like this as well. A little video.
Is it all day tomorrow, Locky, or?
I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I think they're just get him done, give him the fans that. Let's do the other one right away.
Yeah.
I didn't know that he would need. Oh, is it because of Brexit that he needs a work permit?
Yeah, it is.
Because he's coming from another team in the same.
Yeah, well, I don't think it'll be an issue.
It won't take long.
That's what I was thinking. That it shouldn't take much time at all, should it? Because he's already playing in a British league.
He has a visa to work in the UK currently, and his job description, technically, if you go down that route, his job description isn't changing, and he's moving to another
just
club.
Changing employers.
They just buy the visa off them or take the ownership of the visa. They have to transfer that. That could be what rules him out of the weekend, actually, because that might take a day or two, and it's Thursday, so home office stuff, it might not get done before the weekend. But yeah, hugely positive. I thought you were going to say, Kate, they were taking a photograph of him, and behind him was Amiri standing on the pitch.
I was like,
I wish.
Imagine messing up like that. Right, so Piroe's in. I can't believe I'm saying that out loud. Piroe's in.
Piroe's in.
Amiri,
wow,
he's in. Yeah, Amiri may be in, but we'll know probably by this time tomorrow.
Yep.
Joseph Pansel, according to certain places, are also saying that he is set for a medical, but that's gone a bit quiet. There's not official sources, but there's enough noise still to think maybe. Go back to the comment that was made by the local journalist over in Belgium, who said there is interest in the player, but no bid just yet. As of this morning, there was no bid for Joe Piroe in either. So that's how quickly that's all gone happened. So that could be done as well. I wrote down Glenn Kamara and Lewis O'Brien as well, because I still think there's a midfielder need, and we've all kind of said that. It's maybe two. I think Lewis O'Brien as a loan to buy is an incredibly smart move to make if you can get that one. And also, bearing in mind the fees that the 49ers are paying for players right now is incredible business. Like 7 million for Ampadu, 600,000 for a £6 million goalkeeper, and a loan player in Joe Rodon, Sam Byram on a free transfer, 10 million for the top goal scorer in the Championship. Considering what Gyökeres went
23 years old as well, Piroe. I think
23 years old. Yeah, 24.
Yeah, he must have only just turned 23.
Must have turned 24. Yeah.
I'm sure
you
he
look
was
at
20...
that. Amiri's what, 26?
26.
Yeah,
26,
27.
26.
Yeah.
Good age as well. And he'll be the first one outside of the UK they've brought in. So he fits the age demographic pretty well.
We did also say, didn't we, that Farke likes to bring in a couple of German players. And we thought that he would go out to the Bundesliga and maybe try and bring in a couple of players, and this could be the first of one or two, maybe, or I don't know. But obviously we haven't really been linked to anybody else, but it is a thing that he does, isn't it? He gets a couple of but he did it at Norwich, gets a couple of German players in, players that he can obviously can communicate with everybody, but you know what I mean? He'll have a bit of rapport
German
with them.
too.
Yeah, put them into his system and have them as a bit of a spine. But yeah, I mean, I can't believe that a Premier League team didn't take a punt on Joel Piroe, even like a newly promoted team like Luton or somebody like that.
10 million as well.
Yeah,
wild.
They'd probably be, to be honest, they'll probably be kicking themselves that they didn't. They'll be going. They only got him for that much.
Down or a Bournemouth, like, surely to God, this is exactly the kind of player you can afford to buy and bring in.
No,
I was even thinking Everton.
Yeah,
not even with no money. 10 million is not huge. You get a loan, you get a loan for that.
He scored more than loan. I think he scored 40 goals in the season over the last 2 years.
Yeah,
and he's 23. Like, yeah, but so massive coup for us to be able to get him.
Yeah. So
and with our other signings as well. I mean, Ampadu and stuff like that. I mean, I think they've done some
great
really, really
business
good business, and it kind of just reinforces Piroe Marate what basically said, he's doing what he said he would do at the very beginning. We've all got a bit sort of like, frantic. I know I have, but at the end of the day, they're doing what they said they'd do. And it kind of gives you faith for once, which we're not used to. It makes you feel a bit uneasy.
Yeah.
I think.
It's an unusual feeling, which is why I don't know whether I should be excited about this signing or I should just go into a small short-term coma just to recover from this excitement of this. But I'm shocked that I actually am. I'm looking at him in a Leeds shirt.
Doesn't look real, does it?
It's not real.
I'm looking at him in a Leeds shirt, and I'm thinking, what the...
Is it fair? The Photoshop.
Why is he taking the number 7?
17 is worn by Shaqs, and that's what he normally wears.
Who's number 9?
But still, 7's a bit...
He's not giving that away, is he? He's not giving that away.
But still, 7 is a bit of a weird number for a striker, isn't it?
Well, Ronaldo wore 7.
Maybe it's lucky number 7 for maybe it's lucky number.
But then Ronaldo started on the wing, didn't he? And that's why he had the number 7 originally. Yeah. So maybe we're going to play Piroe on the wing, and we'll play Dan James up front.
I mean, Alioski was number 10, and he was a left back, wasn't he?
I know, but he was crazy.
Yeah,
he's different from the rest.
Yeah, he is.
So just real quick, and I'm going to use the moment of excitement and everyone running away with themselves to get this off you guys. But do you think, if you look at this, let's assume a couple of things. Let's say Pansel, Amiri, because they're different positions, so it's not a case of it's one or the other. They're very different positions. One's wide, one's a 10. And then you look at Lewis O'Brien and Kamara, and then maybe a left back as well. That's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players. Piroe would be 6. Do you think we get the rest of these done before the window closes? Kate, I'll start with you. Or do you think it's going to be Joe Piroe, one of either Pansel or Amiri, and then maybe a left back? Or what are your thoughts on it?
I'm not even sure that they're going to go for a left back in this window. I think maybe they're going to use some Byram there, although I don't know, because obviously the right back situation, we can't rely on the interesting drama going to West Ham. We can't rely on Luke, aiming to play week in, week out. I don't know. I think that maybe, to be honest with you, if we had Joel Piroe, Amari, and Pansel, and maybe another midfielder, I think that would do it for this window. I don't think they'll go for any more personally, but maybe January. I don't know.
That's interesting. Locky, what do you think?
Honestly, to be honest, I have no idea what this ownership's going to do every 5 minutes. This came out of nowhere. It's like he's done his medical, and suddenly 5 minutes later, it's a tweet that he's here. I think if I'm being positive, I think we get Amiri done tomorrow or the day after, before the game. I think, if I'm being positive, if that doesn't break down, and I think we get Pansel done early next week.
There's some interesting things about Amari and his brother, who's his agent. And Kicker said it, and a couple of other places have said as well in Germany, can be notoriously difficult to deal with in terms of negotiations. And what Kicker said and what another publication said, pretty much the exact same thing. Don't be surprised if they change their mind again. It's possible. Yes. But that there's no indication that they will do that right now. But there's a history of that. So, again, for me, it's a thing of, if you're going to do it, get it done quickly. And hopefully that is what's happening. Max, what are your thoughts on this?
Sorry, I was just going to quickly say.
Sorry, no, go ahead. Go.
The relationship with Farke will help. Apparently, Farke was ahead of this, called him, spoke to him, and that made him want to come to Leeds. So we'll see on that one, I guess.
Interesting.
Yeah, important. Max, your thoughts on Amiri, the potential of more signings, and where you think we'll be at the end of this window?
For me, I think Pansel could be one of those where he's lined up in case Nonto had managed to get his way out or Sinistera had been bought. Because for me, the priority isn't to get a winger if we keep everybody that we've got at the moment. So for me, get Amiri done, because we definitely need number 10, and that's your last permanent signing. I think the other two that you need to make are Lewis O'Brien on a loan to buy and Jed Spence on just a one-season loan. I think if we got Jed Spence and Lewis O'Brien on loan and Amiri permanent from now to the end of the window, I think we are set for the season. Obviously, Cooper's injured, but we've now got Rodon, Strauch, Cresswell. Obviously, Hjelde can play there. But when Cooper's back, we've got 4 centre-backs. So to me, that is a good squad if we do that. You give Archie Gray a bit of cover. Lewis O'Brien's actually only 24. You know, he's not an old player. He's still yet to come into his prime, and so I think it'd be good to get him on a loan to buy. Like I said, I think he could play that role really well. And then Jed Spence obviously can do what Ayling can do in terms of attacking, but just faster, stronger, and probably able to get back a lot better as well because he's so much younger. So I think if we were to get those three, I'd be happy. I'd be very happy.
I think we get a left back, and I think it's Charlie Taylor. I think that still happens. I've got a feeling.
Yeah,
we tried for Brandon Williams apparently. He chose Ipswich. For
Ipswich.
He'd be a popular lad down there, won't he? Have to play him for Norwich for a year. They'll love him when he gets there.
So that was the thing. I think with the Aaron's thing, we're looking for a fullback. I think we go for Charlie Taylor. I've got a feeling on it. I don't know why.
Taylor's name's not gone away. Phil Hay said it last week. They still like Taylor. Taylor's not in the Burnley squad. So I think that, again, there's something in there. And the big one for me is I did think they might just go, feck it. Let's give Junior Firpo a crack at the championship and see what we can get. But then his injury, I know, okay, I'll come here. I'm right there with you. 100% right there with you. But it's a different division. It's lower. You know, again, this system, he can play more as a wing back than anything. His defensive frailties can be hidden pretty well in this system. But maybe not. It looks like I think Taylor's name is still floating out. And that gives you options as well. You could move Sam Byram across to the right-hand side.
To be fair,
cover there, you know, as Kate already said. So
there's nobody left at the club who was advocating for keeping Junior Firpo and playing him. That was Victor Orta basically not letting it lie, not saying that this has to work because he's one of my signings and just not signing another left back. I think everybody who's at the club who had any faith in him or trusted to play him is gone now. And I think he will be phased out and he might have a bit of spot on the bench until he's sold in January because he's not going to get sold before the window, is he? Because he's injured. But yeah, I don't think he sees any action, to be honest. How old's Charlie Taylor now, by the way?
28.
Is it close to his 30s, is he?
Yeah, so he's not. It's not that bad to get him then in there, and then we could put Byram at right back, but then it'd be very strange, wouldn't it? Especially if Cooper was in there or something. It'd be like, hold on a sec. Half this defense is
Taylor, Cooper. Yeah, is can we try and get James Miller on loan for a season? I'll let everybody together.
You just see Dukara on the bench, and you're like, hold on a sec.
I always liked Dukara. Got an awful hard time. Man worked his socks off. Anyway, Taylor's 29. Plenty of life left in him. And he's 7 appearances off.
I just like the way how football is so on its own with that. Like, Joe, you've just said he's 29. Plenty of life left in him yet. As if he's like just turned 70 or something. He's like,
it's weird that in football, isn't it? Because I look at like Liam Cooper and think he's like 55.
Yeah,
but that's because he's actually so young as a human. Yeah. It's so weird when we look at football.
Yeah, it's its own little
we're not talking about youth here as a human. We're talking about youth here as a footballer.
It's just funny,
but by the age of 30, they're so old. They're actually quite young.
Yeah.
Well, they're playing longer now when they look after their body. But Charlie Taylor's body has been just battered. Same as Byram. He's had so many injuries over the years that they're creaking at the edge. Same with Cooper, and that's what I feel sorry for the amount of injuries that Cooper's had. But if you they do play longer now, but the average for footballers' retirement is in around 35, 36 years of age. So you're kind of looking at that being the back end of your career. But look, if we get better as a result of it, bring him in. At that point, park the grudges, get on with it, and let's hope Leeds is successful. We'll all get over it. Right, we've been going for an hour and 20 minutes, and this will get about 6 views because it's an hour and a half long nearly. So we'll park it there and we'll send it out. Just a massive thanks, as always, to Kate from Leeds Bird Rants, Locky from Locky Leeds, and Max from Leeds Laley. They are linked in the description below. Please go check them out. Before we close, Kate, anything going on your channel coming into the weekend?
I'm doing I've got the match preview tomorrow, and then we're doing a watch along on Saturday. I started doing the watch alongs and did them over the World Cup as well. They were great. Don't quite get sort of 30,000 views like some people, but hey, we have fun. It's good. Yeah, I enjoy it. So that's what's coming up, and then who knows? Great.
Lucky, what about you? What's on the channel this weekend? Anything you want to plug?
There will be a Piroe video. Probably when's this come out, Joe? The Friday? Just come out Friday.
Night for members tomorrow morning tomorrow afternoon
Right.
for everybody else.
So whoever's reading this, I'll listen to this reading. There will be a Piroe video on my video, tease, on my channel, hopefully, and hopefully some more player ones. Yeah, just some player breakdowns and all that fun stuff.
Great, that went well. Good stuff.
Yeah, brilliant.
Max, how about you, mate?
Yeah, I think I'll be doing. There'll already be a video out by the time people are watching this tomorrow of the fact that Joel Piroe's finally signed. I've already done a breakdown of him, so it'll just be a bit of a reaction to what's happened, and then in the coming days, if there's more concrete stuff on Amiri, I'll do something on that as well, and then live watch along for the Ipswich game as well. Yeah, and hopefully we get plenty more signings in, so we can all make some videos.
Yeah.
It'd be nice. I'm just looking forward to this window being closed. That's what I'm really looking forward to that. We managed to go through a whole podcast about Ipswich and nobody said Ipswich at all. Not once. Not one.
Very good, Davis.
Ipswich. Not very good, Davis. And he better not be very good the weekend because he's had a good start to the season as well. There's a left back. Anyway, he's doing really well. I'm delighted for him. Anyway, we'll wrap it up there, folks. Thanks very much, as always, for watching and listening. And I will be back on Friday with the news and probably Monday morning with a news video as well. And don't forget to check out everybody's channels here as well. Go show them some love and support them because they support me and it's great. So there you go. Show some love. And I'll see you on Monday or tomorrow or whenever you're watching this. Have a great day, weekend, and fingers crossed for 3 points on Saturday. And I'll talk to you soon.